Hello, welcome to the STREAMATHON. Raul is finishing his premiere with all the names and everything. So we'll be waiting for people to jump in. So how are you doing? I hope you're doing fine. Happy New Year's Eve. And we are here to get started. So this is the second time I'm participating in a STREAMATHON. And I haven't been able to do a lot of live streaming. But anyway, we are here now. So last year I showed you how to work with tissue paper, and we started this one. So if you want to see the process, you can go back to last year's STREAMATHON. And today I got something different. So you're going to get to see sunlight and probably a lot of shadow. The sun is coming down on my right, and it's going to be a very sunny and clear day. So again, welcome the people who are joining. Welcome the people who will watch this on a replay. And let's get started. Hi, Janet, welcome. So for this year's STREAMATHON, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to try and have this back from the past. This is Spanish card making. It's done with tracing paper, and the characteristic of this very antique card making technique is the way it's done. I'm going to show you the materials first, because this is something that you can probably have at home, and you can probably try this experiment. So welcome everybody. Thank you for coming and joining me. And we're going to be working with card making. So here we are. Okay, let me see why I cannot see my chat here, but here you go. Oh, finally, it's working. So Spanish card making was a very elegant technique used probably 100 years ago or more. For this, you are going to need tissue paper. And my recommendation is to have the thickest tissue paper that you can afford. Unfortunately, I don't have like pounds or ounces or something like that, but this is the typical block of tissue paper that you can get. It's very thin. It might not work. You need to have something heavier, something really heavy. Think about watercolor paper. The heavier, the better. This one is a little bit better, but there is something that is thicker than this. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that thick one, but this will make do. Okay. What else do you need? Well, you need linoleum. This one is very flexible. And this one is going to help you score this paper. I will also recommend having cork. This is something that you can get at art shops or crafts, probably. I'm not sure if the materials are available using Amazon. I don't know. Spanish card making has got also another characteristic. It's mostly done with white ink. So you can use white color pencils, gel pens, probably, I'm not sure, but probably acrylic will help. These are very good as well. And of course, try to get some white ink. There you go. So you can start checking if you have something like this at home, and you can follow me a little bit with the basic process. Now, these are the specific tools. I got them 30 years ago, 1994. if I'm not bad at math. And these are the tools that we normally use to score this paper gently. And you can see that this one is really used. Some of them have small spheres. You can use these kind of tips. If you don't have any of these, you can find a ballpoint pen, especially the thin one, and make sure it's empty so you don't damage the paper. And all these are like very dangerous tools. They are like pins, and they are used to produce these kind of effects on the paper. This technique was used to produce cards to invite people for certain events. I'm going to show you something that I started 30 years ago. Let me just put these tools away and I'll use them later. They look much better on top of black paper. They are going to be in Spanish, guys. Sorry about that, but this is a card for happy holidays. You can produce different effects. You can use gel pens, different colors as well. But you can get to see that the outline is mostly white. They were used for first communion invitations, christenings, birthdays. Some of them are more colorful than others. These are samples that I got from a book. You can use stencils to create your own. This is, for example, I'm trying to control the glare here. This is a happy birthday card. In the USA, you normally have the Sweet 16. In Mexico and Latin America is normally done when the lady turns 15 years old. So this used to be very, very expensive things to ask for, because they were manually done one by one. This is for like a baby shower, like mini ones. And you could also produce things like this. This is like a fan. Each one of them is an individual piece, and then it's mounted on a different piece. So, and this is not just the only thing that you can do here. This technique is so beautiful that if you get the thickest tracing paper that you can from the store, it can go 3D. I have not tried a 3D, but I'm going to show you how it looks like. This bouquet is made of paper. The same with this lady. This is also from 1994. Okay, and it's the complete course. You have got photos, patterns. You're probably wondering, okay, how to color this? Very easy. Prismacolor pencils are something that is very creamy. Oil pastels for this type of work. This is a lamp, and everything is done with this technique. And when I was cleaning up like a month ago, that's when I decided that this could be a good option. You have got the list of materials. I'm going to try and pull this up so you can get to visually see what more or less you need. colors, ink, everything that I have shown before. You have like a master stencil that you can create, and then you can just score, punch a little bit, and have a lot of fun with this. So if you're ready, I can show you the basic things that we can do with another one that I have got. This is where you're going to recognize some of the samples that I made. So there you go. I gifted this teddy bear to a person, and that was really, really nice to do. So the first step is to have your stencil, to make sure what you want. Do you want a card? Do you want a poster? Whatever you wish to do. Welcome everyone. I'm checking your comments here, but I'm not stopping so much because I only have 1 hour and I really want to take advantage of this hour. You have here the prepared stencils that you can use. 3D with this dough. Christmas tree. There you go. The number of pieces that you need is underneath. We won't have time to finish one complete piece, that's for sure, but I'll try to do something small. This is, for example, a wedding invitation that has the invitation, the personal ticket, or whatever. It was having complete sets here. It's just really, really nice. You have here for the baby shower, first communions, christenings. I mean, all these beautiful details that you can have, and you can also apply it for bar mitzvah. So there you go. I haven't found channels on YouTube that carry this technique. Probably 1 or 2 channels, and they're in Spanish. So one of the things that you can do is probably get inspired with what we can do here, and later on try to find somebody else who has done this in your own language. That would be fantastic. Cards, they don't really need to be transparent, translucent. You can put something and paste it. And there you go. This, the last time I did something with this technique was in 2022, but I couldn't get to deliver this Christmas card. So let's grab our tools, a bit of paper. I'm going to do something small, something very small, because we won't have enough time to do this. This is a very useful clay with a little bit of glue. You can find it as Sprit Tack, and you can just get small bits. It will not damage your paper unless you leave this for 24 hours or more. Then yes, your paper will suffer. But this is going to be good for, I'm going to do this one. This is going to be good for not using Scotch tape or masking tape on top of this. Press it down. You can also find the links to all the streamers using the description of this video. After my stream, go to Kathy Berg's channel, and she and Colleen will be streaming for 2 hours. Okay, this is actually really good. I use it for classes when I have flashcards and I have to paste something there. So using white color, I'm using Prismacolor. What you're going to do is that you're going to trace your image. Trying to do this fast. I will not bother too much with the details. If you don't like using pencil and you feel bold, you can go directly and use a jelly roll pen. I'm using both methods. Let's see if this one paints, because they are quite... You can use both methods to get your image. Okay. Don't forget to share the STREAMATHON links, to subscribe to the channels that you like. Content will eventually be there on my channel, hopefully. Hopefully I'll have more stable working schedules in 2025, and I can find like a free slot to stream. So whatever you like, you can use gel pen, color pencil. I have seen people who use dip pens directly from the ink bottle, and they go really bold and do this. Okay. I think I have somewhere here dark paper. I'm not doing this really carefully because I just want to show you that technique, and I want you to experiment, because this is the idea. The idea is to, as the 80s are coming back, this is from the 90s, but the first account of this technique, it was very popular in the 1940s and 1950s for card making and having invitations. Just imagine how much time ahead you had to ask the artist to do this for you, because he had to do, for 100, he had to do this one by one, color one by one, trace one by one. So it was expensive. This was not something that anyone could afford in those years. With the expansion of digital invitations and things like that, of course, this practically disappeared. And now it's just a hobby. Nobody will ask for a work like this if they can have a digital invitation for a wedding or something like that. Especially in our times that everything is fast-paced. So it's impossible nowadays to think about this. Okay. As I have direct sunlight, as you can see, I'm not so sure if everything is traced, but we can probably work with this. Let me see. Check if my gel pen is working. As they are the thin ones, they tend to clog a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to remove these. Yes, Janet. Everything just went so fast with card making. So more or less you can see that it looks kind of not very well traced, but well, the idea is just to get you a little bit inspired and move. Okay. Another thing that people normally do is they take their ink. I'm going to put my dip pen here and probably go in with better detail and say, oh, okay, let me just do this. My material is a little bit old, but more or less we can get an idea. I don't like working with ink that much, but especially when we are rushing through, showing you more or less how this looks like. You can get to see the pencil is very, very faint, but then you got this one there. Okay. You have to let this dry if you use ink, of course. And now it's the fun part. Once you have the design that you want, that you like, then it's time to take out either your big pen, or I'm thinking that maybe if you have crochet hooks, they can even work, especially the very, very thin ones. But there you go. Card making is something that is very artistic in my personal point of view. And I really believe that people need to go back to do something like this more often. If you don't have linoleum, you can probably try with foamy. You need something kind of soft, but not that soft that you can tear this paper. And then what you're going to do is flip your design, and very, very carefully start scoring. I'm just going to score some of the areas that are wide enough with the gel pen. This is going to create also an outline for your coloring. What I will try and do is buy this paper that is thick enough, and maybe with a little bit more time try and do something more detailed, because yes, this is something that you cannot finish in 1 hour, and especially 1 hour of streaming. That's out of question. Okay. I'm just going to do one of the shoes. The other one is going to stay unfinished. You have to be very, very precise, because, you know, tracing paper is very smooth. So if you don't control the strength of the pressure in order to score it, and I'm going to intentionally make a mistake with the other shoe, you will have to repeat everything again. So that's why I say that this is something that really takes a long time, very good eye. If you need to work with a magnifying glass, then it's probably a very good idea to do so. So if you don't control your pressure, you can be doing this and then, oh, mistake. Something there. You cannot see it there right now, but unfortunately now this didn't follow my outline. So that was particularly bad. Prick tag is also very good for removing these. You can get to see that when you score from behind, now you have a texture. You feel it with your finger. And with this texture, what you can do is use any of your other tools. And there are bigger tools. Have this one that is a small sphere. In Spanish, this is called a cocache. So what you're going to do is, with a very, very soft movement, you're going to do kind of a 3D effect on the shoe to make it pop out. This is very therapeutic because as you need to concentrate, it's like doing mindfulness. You forget about the world outside, you forget about the haste, the stress, and everything. If you have a soft surface, I'm going to try with the other shoe. This is the foamy strip. Then this tool is going to create a better effect. So it's just trying and experimenting. You also have to be very, very careful when you do this, because if the paper is not very, very thick, you can see a small little white popping out here. This is with the linoleum, this is with the foamy. Okay. Yes, Andrea, this is like doing centangles, more or less. I'm going to also make a mistake here with one of the sections here. If you just push any of these tools, because there are bigger ones, if you just push them too much on the surface, you can rip the paper. Okay, so you have to be very, very careful. You have to test the surface that you are using. You can use scissors to cut this out, but the fun thing here is to use this. If you needle felt, you are familiar with needles. These are pins, but they're very, very sharp and dangerous. And don't punch your linoleum or your foamy. That's why we have our cork. And this one, you flip it again, and you have the single one, you have one that has got a lot of pins, or my other kit that has got this deadly combination of 3, 5, 3 or more. So there you go. Just be careful when you handle this, or you can have an accident. Okay, using your cork surface, what you're going to do is just punch. You can do this to cut your figure out from your tracing paper, or you can also use it for having special effects. Like you can take some of the textures, punch them out. Doing this with the inside of the shoes. And you can have a lot of fun with the different ones, because each one will produce a different effect. Let me just have some more, and you will be able to see this. course, the more pins, the faster. If you work with one, it's going to take long. So let's see if you can get to see this. Try not to. Here on top, you can get to see. Okay. So this is more or less what we do with all these beautiful materials that you can get from home or from a local craft shop. Probably if you go to a very old one where you live, you'll probably find this material dusting somewhere. Now, what about to color? Well, there are two ways to color. Some people like to use watercolor on top, and you can do that. You can take a watercolor pencil or watercolor and you can just go and have very subtle colors. You can also use, I don't have my watercolor pencils here, but I have the Inktense colors. If you're going to do that, then from the tip, and you can color the front very, very lightly, not a lot of water. So this is one option. Another option is to grab your pencil and directly color on top, but also watercolor pencil, very supple, don't have a lot of pressure here. And then you can just wet your area. This is one option. The traditional option is to grab your creamy color, whatever it is. Let's just wait a little bit for this to dry. Okay. What I don't like about using watercolor is that the paper, it will warp. It doesn't matter. And especially if it's not too thick. It's much better to color from the back. Remember that we traced some of these. So we have natural contour lines. And they're going to be like boundaries. So you take your color and you can have a lot of layers. And you can color, check the intensity, flick back, continue working. So there are a lot of things you can do. And if your abilities are really, really good and you have a lot of precision, you can also use the colors on top to intensify. You can put, for example, a base color. Let's try and do that. You can put a base color. And then you can add the shadow on top. That's another way to work with this. Okay, I'm going to try. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try and darken the sunlight so you can see this better and keep my artificial one. So that could be one option. If you want to color everything from the back, you have to work the other way around. First, you will have to put the shadow. Let me see, this one is not scored. So let me just score this bit of the shoe a little bit so we can work on this side. Remember, I didn't score everything because this is just a demonstration, quick workshop. So, going back. First method, base color at the back, shadow at the front. And then you can work and play with the intensity until you can find something that you like. The other method is everything from the back. But first, your shadow, don't exaggerate with the intensity, because remember that you also have to take into consideration the opacity of your tracing paper. The thickest paper is very opaque, so some colors will work better than others. I'm not going to defend a particular brand, but find something that is creamy. I'm using Prismacolor Junior, and they work very well with this technique. You can use the Premiers, you can use something that is creamy enough. If you have oil pastels and you have a big area to work with, then you can use them as well. Remember that it's not going to look the same, but you can get to see. I'm going to put it in black. Okay. You can get to see a little bit how we can build shadows. Okay, so we are like 20 minutes to finish. And what we can do here is this. Janet, you're going to love this. If you're going to use stencils or create your own, please use rulers. Okay, that's basic. You can use things like these also. They can help you. Okay, but rulers are basic, because when you finish your card, you will need to use an X-Acto knife to cut them out. I found at my local HEB like 4 months ago this set of stencils, flowers, and I said, this is good. This is quite good. So you can use big stencils to experiment first, and later you can go to the small ones, the small details. Okay. Yes, I also use rulers a lot, especially with these things. Let me just grab one of them. So this is another good option, the stencils. Start big, and later you can go to these. I'm showing this up close, a little bit tilted, so the plastic doesn't interfere. Everything is colored at the back, but this one is pasted, so I don't want to take it out. But you can go to the small details there. And this one has got all the techniques. It has got the edges with these dangerous tools with pins. Has got the clouds with this tool. The same, the chimney and the trees. Okay. And it has got the edges punched out. So, what do you think about this one? I hope that you liked to try this technique out, that you experiment, that we have a lot of people visiting all the streamers, because the idea is to get inspired in the last and the first day of the year, to have all your goals and resolutions in mind. And as I mentioned in my test stream on Saturday, goals and resolutions are not just miracles. They need to be worked every day. I hope that 2024 was a good year for everyone, that you were able to navigate through everything that life throws at us. We can have losses, we can have a lot of good days and bad days, but in the end, if we really are grateful for what we have every day and we take 5 minutes every night before going to sleep and say thank you for whatever happened, a lesson learned, a good achievement accomplished, something that you were wishing and finally came through. If you just take those 5 minutes to say thank you because I'm alive and healthy, because I have things in my life, because I'm probably luckier than my neighbor, your life will be much, much better every day. So it doesn't matter what happens in 2025. I hope that I'm still in contact with all this beautiful community. Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. Find it. I think I'm going to try and stream using this technique until I master this one again. Because, yeah, it's really simple, but it really requires your hand to find the correct amount of pressure to punch and score. Okay. Don't forget that right after me, you have to jump to Kathy Berg's channel. Okay, Raul, if you can put her link in the chat as you moderate. Okay, so Colleen and Kathy are going to be streaming for 2 hours. I'm going to be having breakfast as I watch the streamers, and then I'm going to go out for 30 minutes to do a last minute shopping. Okay, I'm doing this one with more care, but it won't be finished in 15 minutes, okay? So, brick tag, it works for everything. Grab one. It really helps you a lot. And as this is just plastic, no big deal. Let's put it away. Okay. Now let's see. I have here something that I would like to try. It's an experiment. I don't know if it will work. It's an acrylic marker. It's not part of the traditional things to use, but as we are experimenting, it might work. My gel pens are clogged, so I'm trying to. Thank you, Raj, for coming. Sorry, I'm not giving individual hellos. I'm monitoring this from StreamYard directly and not necessarily checking out the delay on YouTube. Still confuses me. Oops. Well, we have discovered something new, guys, that you can also try. If you have acrylic markers with ballpoint pens that are kind of thin, for big things like this, it works. Let's see how the scoring goes, right? The important thing is to keep your lines white and clear. Okay. Oops, I forgot that pedal. I'm kind of very interested in the process. Thank you, Flo. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone, for visiting. I have more or less like 10 minutes because I want to give you guys a break to have a coffee, do something, or just charge your battery and then go back to the STREAMATHON. Okay. If you're watching the replay, remember that all the links are also going to be in my description box. And you can watch all the replays, subscribe to channels, enjoy all the creativity of the streamers, because that's the idea. I'm not talking too much about the process because you have seen it before. I'm just outlining what I did with pencil. I'm trying to hurry up, but I might not have enough time to finish this. Your designs can be as easy or as complicated as you wish. Just don't forget that this takes time, but it will relax your mind quite a lot. If I can do a small video, record a video with this finished flower, you will see it on my channel. Probably over the weekend. Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm so happy about that, Leah. So yeah, this is something that sometimes you don't know you have until you clean up, as you said, your stash or something, and then you discover things that people used to do in the past, and now. So for this one, I'm going to try and use something that is a little bit thicker. Okay. Let's put this here. My cats and my dad are waking up, and they are saying, "Why is this lady speaking alone?" So let's start scoring these. It's very likely that your linoleum or foamy might get stained with ink or whatever you're using. You can just rub it with alcohol and no big deal. This is the material that people normally use to carve or printing. And you can always go back and check how this is going. And this is the best thing to do if you're not sure if you're done all the petals or all the lines in your design. So sorry if my voice is not very clear. It's early in the morning. It's not that I'm used to speaking, especially in English, so early in the morning. Normally when I get to my classes, I've been already speaking for a long time. And classes are a little bit different. A lot of people kind of laugh at Didi when she uses her teacher's voice, but definitely this voice that you hear now is not my teacher's voice. So I'm not planning to use it, don't worry. This is a nice voice. a nice voice for a tutorial. Not the voice that I normally use to control 30 noisy college students. And sometimes I cannot be controlled. So it's practically giving instructions, teaching something for around 15 minutes because that's the longest attention span they have right now. And what they like is playing interactive games. So I have a collection of apps and sites, trying for them to understand how to write, which is an impossible task sometimes. Sometimes they don't even know how to write in Spanish. So imagine. Hi, CB. I teach at university English as foreign language, and I also have an art subject that is for an optional credit, but I also teach that one in English. Not very popular because, you know, art is not popular, and then when the students find out that it's not only art, but it's also taught in English, they are like, oh no, thank you. So that's a class that I don't have regularly. I normally have 3 groups of English as foreign language. Okay. So I have some of this sport that we can play with. There is a technique within this one that you can grab a small ruler or a ruler, doesn't matter. Let me see which one. And like in centangles, you can do these. I'm not measuring, so it's not going to be exact, as I'm not following a pattern here, but I'm just giving you another idea of what you can do with these. Okay. It's much better to do this with your stencil underneath, so it can be very, very precise in millimeters. Sorry guys, I use millimeters and I know you're using a different type of measurement, but it gives, oh, where's my black? Okay. It gives a very, very nice effect. So there we go. Don't forget thumbs up for everybody who's participating here. And probably going to use my foamy here. Okay. We are in about to finish this stream. So thank you very much for coming. I hope you liked this and that you're able to improvise any of the tools I've shown here to work for you. I even found that maybe if you are into cake decoration, maybe these plastic tools could help also. Okay, and I promise that I'll try to advance this a little bit and record the video to show it over the weekend. So thank you, fifths. Thank you for coming. It's 5 minutes before going to Kathy and Colleen's stream. So as I have breakfast, I'll see you there. And thank you very much, guys. I won't have enough time to color this, but you saw the idea. See you, and thank you very much. Okay.